Start by getting your thoughts on the figure that the central bank has sold today, $200 million. As we saw on Monday, another 200 million. So a lot more flows from the central bank. And that's, of course, in contrast to what we saw a week ago.
Hi, Wole, thanks. Yeah, central bank responding adequately to the market needs. Flows outside of the CBN window are actually drying up a bit, or rather, there's not as much as prior weeks have been. So as a result of that, you find that a lot of demands actually filtering back into the CBN window, and the central bank responding appropriately to fill out that demand. Overall, you can see that the rates in the window haven't really moved significantly. It stayed about 155.75 today, weakening slightly to 155.76. Overall, but within a very long time it has stayed within this range, and that's quite remarkable. So come with demand. Without demand, you find the naira at the stable level at the CBN window, which obviously portrays some very strong and good signals for the guys watching externally.
Right. Okay. And what's the feeling on internally? I mean, in the interbank market in particular, when you're trading these days, do you get the sense that people are confident that the central bank is always there to step in if we are seeing major volatility? And we've seen some volatility over the last few weeks. The naira, I think, briefly tested 156.50. Now is back to about 157.60, and it seemed at the point it was going over 158. So it's clearly trading within a band, perhaps within the band that the central bank has targeted.
Overall, we tend to see those sharp volatilities that you said, the 156.50 range, going back to 158.30 range. You must realize that lots of banks these days, reduction in OPL actually limits how much size you can hold overnight, and as a result of that, any spike in liquidity or lack of liquidity would obviously drive the currency to the extremes. But outside of that, you will find that it comes back to trade within a comfortable range of 157 to 158. So you might see those outliers happening in the currency, but right now I don't think that there's anything to push it out of the 157 158 range.
So you would say that traders are fairly confident about the central bank's ability and resolve to keep the naira within that band?
I think so. I mean, price action tells you that. Okay. I wouldn't fight the prices.
Well, okay, I guess we'll follow that and see how that plays out. Let's move on to the interbank market, especially for naira. We're seeing a lot more liquidity these days. I heard federal allocations have been released to the system, and that's having an impact on interest rates.
Well, I mean, in terms of liquidity, I think the central bank also, they've managed liquidity in a smoothing fashion. We've not seen those jump in rates, the zigzag movements in rates. Overall, we've seen rates average about 11-12% for the past 1 month or plus. The CBN has come out with good liquidity management policies, coming out with OMO at specific intervals, coming out with funds flows at specific intervals. Pressure on the interbank rates not really there. Right now, you actually rarely find people actually interested in the very long tenors in the market, knowing very well that liquidity stems over the period of time, and doing on the shorter end of the market would be very good pay in terms of funding. That has worked so far for the central bank and for the market. That has worked so far in terms of carry for asset classes. Overall, I think in the past 1-2 months, it has been quite a calm market.
And of course, there have been treasury bills and government bond issues this week. I heard the results aren't out yet, but what are the expectations?
Well, for the treasury bills, results are out, Wole.
Okay.
Today we actually have a total of about 165 billion in government securities, about 50 billion for the bonds, the rest for treasury bills. Treasury bills rates ranging from 12 to 12.5% across the tenor. That really is a fall from the previous auction, which ranged from about 12.7 to above 13. This also is a reflection of the liquidity in the market, reflection of the interests by both the locals and foreigners in the Nigerian asset classes. This also has helped support the naira, because we actually saw the naira actually gain a bit, about 20 kobo from the interbank open for today, on the back of the flows against these assets. That's what we've seen so far. Interest rates on the decline in terms of assets, also interest rates on the decline in the interbank market, healthy reserve balances, foreign exchange rates on a stable ground. I think if I look at these figures, I would actually say the sun is shining.
Well, it sounds like it anyway. But where do you think Treasury bill rates are likely to go from here? You said about 12% today. Do you think we could see them fall below 12?
Well, you might see a bit of more appreciation in the yields. You might actually do see it below 12%, Wole.